Therapy is bullshit. And that might sound like an attack. That might sound like an attack on you. Like, who the hell am I? Who am I? I'm no expert. We've put a little bit too much faith in experts. Look at where we are with the coronavirus and where that got us. The experts don't know shit. Studies contradict studies all the time. And we have to go back to our intuition and our instinct and our gut. What does our gut tell us? What does our intuition tell us? When we give people with lab coats too much power over us, then that gives us an excuse to misbehave. So, for instance, therapy is bullshit. Now, I've been getting some DMs like, well, what about if we gave therapy to a homeless vet who is a drug addict? And I said, that's not the general population. That's not the experience of therapists with the general population. The general population is narcissistic. We, like I've mentioned many, many times before, we are the most narcissistic generation of all time. We think our feelings matter, especially men. And when I'm talking, I'll give you a stupid little example. When I'm talking about hair, and this is a question I get a lot, which is, why shouldn't I shampoo my hair? Why shouldn't I conditioner my hair? And how often should I use the scalp brush you use in the shower? All of those things. I'm mainly talking to men. My experience is as a man. I identify as a man. This is my gender reveal party. I am a man. So, as a man, I can really only speak for men. Men and women are wired differently. Women like to vent. They like to express themselves and talk about their feelings. It's basically a feminine trait, and I totally understand. But men are wired differently. We have a lot of testosterone. We have a lot of steam to blow off. So what works for us might not work for women. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. Maybe it's like half of what I say would work for females. But this thing where we all have to go to therapy and we all have a mental health crisis, we don't look at the simplest answer in front of us. What are we eating? Are we getting enough sunlight? Are we getting enough gym time? Are we working out? Manual labor used to be 99% of all the jobs. It's flipped. 1% of all the jobs in first world countries are manual labor. We are wired to be so tired that by the time our head hits the pillow, we fall asleep. Why do you think there is an epidemic of people having problems sleeping? It's because we have so much energy left in our tank at the end of the day that we don't even realize we do. I'll give you a little example. A year ago, I went hunting in Alaska, and we climbed mountains, 3,000 feet mountains, foot mountains, and we walked all day. We hiked all day. We didn't really eat that much, and we were still, at the end of the day, able to come back down the mountain and get back to our home base and all that. And the amount of energy we exerted was more than a week's worth of the gym. So do the bare minimum. Go to the fucking gym and eat right, get some sunlight, stop looking at porn, and you won't need to go to a therapist. Like I said, men are not wired to express their feelings. Their feelings are now so important, and it's having such negative consequences. Why are there school shootings? Well, actually not anymore, because they're all Zoom. So school shootings now would be suicide, and that's it. But why are there these things? Oh, men are rambunctious. Kids, boys are rambunctious. And we've been doping them up for 30 to 40 years. It's like millennials and Gen Z have been the guinea pigs of the pharmaceutical companies. And we're pumping them full of drugs, right? And then we wonder why there's such a backlash, why there's such a mental health problem, why the suicide rate is through the roof. The boys in the 1950s didn't have that problem. Maybe, I mean, there's a lot of things that come to play. If there's no more social cohesion, if there's no more national identity, if we're starting to just let people come into this country and dilute the American way, there is a lot of things. And then on top of that, to drug kids, and then we think that there's a mental health crisis, and then you have Instagram and all of these apps promoting the suicide hotline thing and talking about your feelings. Maybe too much screen time is also a problem. Maybe you're comparing your life to other people's lives a little bit too much. Maybe that is the problem, right? But no, we go through the easier thing. Go to a therapist, who, by the way, go to 10 therapists and tell them the same thing verbatim, the same story, the same problems you think you're experiencing verbatim. And those 10 therapists will give you all different answers, meaning those people are quacks. Those people are leeches. Those people want you to be with them as long as possible and take as much money as possible from you. I've been giving people some advice over the FaceTime thing called Super Peer. People pay me. I'm not it's not therapy. I'm not asking them about their feelings. I'm asking them, what is your problem and how can we fix it? And by the way, I don't say you should book another call with me in a week and we should see how you're doing. I hope that's the last I hear from them. I mean, look, I'm a Jew. I'm not going to lie. I like making money. I like it. I like money. It's something about it. There's something about money that just makes me feel good. But I'm not a leech, and I'm not going to try to take as much of it away from you as possible. I don't want you talking to me about your feelings. Tell me about your problems, and how can we fix it? And you know who the best person to solve your problem is, especially if you can pinpoint it yourself, which most likely you can, and you don't need an expert? It's yourself. You're the best person that can solve your problem, not me, because I don't care. I don't care as much as you should care. So, yes, I'm generalizing when I'm talking about these things. I don't necessarily need anecdotal things of, well, what about the vet who's homeless and he lost a leg and he's a druggie on the street? That's not the general population's experience with therapy and with the mental health crisis we're experiencing. Yes, it's a crisis, but that's because we've been lied to. You're the best person that can solve your problem. You should solve your problem, and no one else will do it for you. So the reason I'm talking about this is because I posted this in my story. Someone asked me a question, and I thought it was a very good one. And I think it was, what do you think about therapy? And this was my story. Yeah, thoughts on therapy. So this is my response in 15 seconds that I got a little bit of backlash for.
Therapy is fucking gay, especially if you're a man. Your feelings don't matter. You can solve your own problems yourself, most likely. And talking about your feelings nonstop is a feminine trait. Don't fall for the trap and don't pay for that shit.
So my method is to come off as kind of funny. And obviously in 15 seconds, I can't tell you what I just told you in the past 8 minutes. I go a little bit more in depth. And granted, I received some backlash, but open-minded backlash. People who were very receptive of what I told them after. So I got some DMs. And the DMs I got were interesting. This is one of them. I honestly can't tell if this is a joke, but I think therapy should be for anyone who wants it. I mean, it's kind of obvious why most suicides are men. I covered that just now. Most murders are done by men. Yeah, the murder thing is it's just how we're wired. And I'm actually surprised we don't commit more murder considering human history and how we are. Most mass murders are done by men. That some could have actually been prevented if they had gone to therapy. I can even give examples if you want. Bottom line, therapy isn't just talking about feelings. It's also how to control yourself or cope with negative thoughts and behaviors. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking back control of your life or no longer wanting to kill yourself or even others. Like I said, why is there a mental health crisis? We've been pumping kids with Adderall and other pharmaceuticals to stabilize the Adderall for the past 40 years, and it doesn't work. The school system, the way it's designed, is, again, it's more beneficial towards females. Females can sit down and pay attention. They also go through puberty a lot earlier than men, and their behavior is way different than men. And what I mean by go through puberty before men is that they are more mature. They're mature a lot quicker than men. I remember the amount of energy boys had. I hated school. I hated the structure of school, and Jackass was popular at that time, and I would jump off the tiki huts or jump off the second floor of the school and just, you'll be fine because nothing can hurt you when you're young. And we would throw stink bombs and firecrackers into other classrooms. It was great. But and then I turned out pretty much good, right? This is a therapy session for me, by the way, and I'm not expecting a response from me because typically experts don't really respond. They just nod their head, look at their watch, and wait for the hour to pass by so they can collect their $150. So that's an honest rebuttal, and I like it, and I think I pretty much answered it properly. Another thing was sometimes I'm getting in the habit of sending voice messages back to people. And I sent this guy some voice messages. He wrote, "Yo, dude, not starting an argument. Don't worry. I just want to understand. I've been on track with everything you've been saying, and we pretty much share the same beliefs. This is the one thing I've got a few questions for." By the way, this is a proper way to be curious. Not when I did the whole fat shaming thing and people were like, were belittling me and then calling me names and then telling me to educate myself. This is actually interesting because I like when people are genuinely curious. Do you think therapy is bad for everyone? If a dude is struggling with severe depression, what would you say for him to do besides eat beef liver? They just shouldn't talk to anyone about it? Like, I get what you're saying to an extent. Dudes shouldn't let their feelings control their lives. So what are guys supposed to do with those emotions and thoughts? If you read at all, thanks. And then I sent some voice messages. This was my response. Yo, therapy. It's mainly a scam. They want to keep you there forever. So it's a money-sucking scam, not based in any reality. If you went to 10 different therapists, they would tell you 10 different things. Think about it like that. It's astonishing. Now, with regards to men and feelings, the best thing a man can do is work out. Like, yeah, I joke about the beef liver stuff, and that's almost like a meme, but it's real. But the working out thing is the most real. The more a man works out, it satisfies so many urges and needs that he innately needs to satisfy. And most people just aren't. Most people aren't putting in the work. Most people aren't tired when their head hits the pillow. And that's important, especially for a man. So it's not that their feelings don't matter. It's that they shouldn't be the most important thing. And they wouldn't be so in their head if they actually took care of themselves. And it's about working out. It's about eating right. It's about getting sun. It's about meeting a good girl. And if there's anyone to talk to, but not overburden them, it's your woman. Yeah, look, I'm pretty consistent. So I'm going to keep this whole thing in, and I know it's a little bit repetitive of what I have said earlier in this episode, but there you go. You want to see how consistent I am also? This is what I like about Twitter is that you can search certain keywords and find tweets. So I wrote these months ago. I wrote this actually in July. Men, reject therapy, go lift weights, or learn how to fight. Nothing works better. Fighting is good. Also, another thing, men are lacking camaraderie. We thrive off of camaraderie. So if you are lacking that, join a gym where you have to work out with other people. Join a boxing gym where you interact with other people, you fight with them. This is how. But I've seen so many instances where men actually physically will fight each other and then just be friends after because they gain respect for one another. Or join a sports team. Learn a sport and join a team. There's different levels. So you can always join, like, if you're not good at ice hockey, for instance, you can join the really bad league and you can still get that sense of camaraderie and you're on a team. Especially since everything is so digital now, we're lacking. We're lacking in this, and it's part of our survival. I mean, we need it. We evolved this way. And then this tweet was from January. Therapy isn't an antidote for a sick, soulless populace. A society plagued by modernity, by nature, is unfixable, and the normalization of therapy is a significant indication. Those who push for therapy are the same people who never prescribe meaning through hardship as a solution. Hey, sometimes I surprise myself. Like, I can't believe I actually even wrote that. Another thing that we are lacking, the more secular a society, the more we reject religion, the more lonely we will be. You need to have a place to go to as a community and worship. And also what it does is it humbles you. Even if you don't really believe in God, it's nice to believe in something bigger than yourself. And when you reject religion, you don't really do that. And meditation, people say, well, you can meditate. No, that's, again, like that's like a huge form of narcissism because you are God. You are in control of your consciousness and you are God and you can control your Look, I get it. It's fine. But actually, I think there have been studies done that the people who are obsessed with meditating are the most stressed people and that meditating doesn't really even help them. And maybe it's different for women as opposed to men. But again, I think that it's funny when people reject religion, they take the best parts of religion and kind of cheapen them. So meditation is something you do alone, which is something you could do as a community together with people. Therapy is a cheaper version of maybe going to a priest and going to confession, or going to your rabbi and talking to your rabbi, about marital problems, or couples therapy. You could go to a guy who won't gang up on you based on your sex. I mean, if you're going to couples therapy, it's basically fucked if you're a guy, because they're typically women, and they're gonna gang up on you, and you're gonna be wrong. Even if you're right, you're gonna be wrong. So yeah, we have rejected the thing that's helped us for thousands of years, right? And we go for the cheaper version. That's modernity in a nutshell. I mean, think about even the art that we consume now. The art was so much better back in the day. It took skill, and we revered people who made things that it's almost unthinkable that a man can make something that looks godly almost, I mean, look at a Michelangelo sculpture. Look at the Sistine Chapel. I can't fathom that a man actually made that. Listen to Mozart, a guy who is younger than me. I'm 34 in a month, younger than me, and composed the most brilliant works of classical music that you'll ever hear. And there will never be anyone else like him. So go for the traditional shit, guys, and you'll be a lot happier.